So now I want to turn to ironworkers and manufacturing in North America. Our moderator, John Bielak, began his career with the ironworkers in 1989 when he became a member of Shopman's Local 642 in Erie, Pennsylvania. He was employed by the Erie Steel Products Company. John became highly active in the local union and held numerous elected positions before serving as president. He also served as trustee, district council organizer, and third vice president of the Ironworkers District Council of Northern Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, and Northern West Virginia. I appointed John in 2012 to succeed Tony Walensik as director of the shop department and as general organizer. So I'd like John is doing a tremendous job elevating our efforts in the shop industry to fabricate, bring union representation to fabricators, and spurring Buy American clauses in everything that we do for the materials in our job site. So, John, if you would, you and your panelists, please come forward.
Thank you, President Wise. Good morning, everyone. Contractors, employers, vendors, my fellow ironworkers. Today, I just want to let you know that I chose these two individuals because they are not Michigan fans, and I thought Kevin would appreciate that. But today, I have the distinct pleasure and honor to introduce to you two hardworking, innovative men that have successful businesses in North America. To my left, Gary Fidella, Vice President, PTR Baler and Compactor out of Philadelphia, PA. And Mark Salvaggio on my right, President, Salvaggio Ornamental and Structural Steel, Inc. from Springfield, Illinois. And gentlemen, let's have a seat and get started. Gary, we'll start with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company?
Well, PTR has been in business since 1907, so a 107-year-old company. We manufacture trash compactors and recycling equipment such as vertical balers and horizontal balers, shredders, augers, all kind of things. Machinery for recycling, whether it's tires, cardboard. And our customers would be everywhere you shop, from Target to Home Depot, Costco's, you name the store, it's probably our customer. We're actually the largest manufacturer of vertical balers in the world. And I guess we're probably number 2 in the country in recycling equipment. So we've grown to a nice-sized company. We used to produce overhead cranes, but that business became a little bit difficult and we had to change our structure. I am third-generation iron worker. My father, my grandfather were local 502 shopmen. So I told John earlier, at one time in local 502, we had 17 relatives. So our whole family is iron workers.
Thank you. Mark, do the same thing for us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Again, my name is Mark Salvaggio, and I'm the president of Salvaggio Steel in Springfield, Illinois, capital of the great state of Illinois. My brother Tony and my sister Michelle and I took over Salvaggio Steel in 1985 when our father passed away. Father Joe started the company as an ornamental iron shop, one-man operation. Uncle Jasper came to work with him after the Korean conflict, as with possibly some other Italian families. They didn't get along after a couple years, and they split up. Uncle Jasper stayed in the ornamental, and my father, Joe, started developing into miscellaneous and structural steel. I joined the firm as a 17-year-old, which many probably also do. And my brother joined at age 17 in high school. Used to walk from school right into the shop and work 2 hours almost every night. We, brother Tony and I, both carried a union card in our district council unions. We are a union shop, been a union shop for way before I started there. I've got a great relationship with our union based out of St. Louis. We're basically a very small family family-owned business, a second generation. We've got 28 total employees, 14 are considered union. The other 14 are spread between sales, drafting, executive staff. And for the most part, 10 of those would be considered structural steel, while the other 4 are more miscellaneous orientated. We're an AISC certified shop. We've been AISC certified for 7 years. We are considered one of the larger, more automated companies downstate Illinois. As a matter of fact, I believe we're probably the most automated steel company south of I-80 in the state of Illinois. In a lot of cases, my brother Tony and I have developed and worked with our vendors to develop systems and cells in fabrication techniques that's been shared all over the world at this point.
Thank you, Mark. As you can see, the shop department is very diverse. You've got an employer over on the left that has 130 employees, and you have an employer on the right that has 28 employees. And we've got great relationships with them. But let's get right to the point here. Let's get into safety. Let's talk about safety and the importance it role plays in your shop. And Gary, we'll start with you.
Well, safety, obviously, number one of all things that we do. We concentrate a lot on safety. We have certified Pennsylvania, certified safety committee, constant safety training. We want everyone to come in every day with all their digits and go home with all their digits. You can't come to work and feel good about work if you've got to worry, rather you're going to be safe. So that's not the culture we want or can have. We work hard at it. It's constant training. Whether it's every morning, which starts off with a toolbox meeting, that there's always a safety topic that comes up. Our safety committee is very involved. If we do have no matter how small the accident is, it could be guy gets a splinter in his finger. It's fully investigated by the entire committee, trying to find out how can we eliminate that from possibly happening again. Needless to say, with the cost of workman's comp and the effect, and I've heard it throughout this whole conference, even we have to submit bids that we're constantly asked about our safety record. What's our OSHA reporting record? How many accidents did we have? How many lost days did we have? And if you have a bad record, whether you're out on the construction site or whether you're in a manufacturing plant, you're not going to get the job. Nobody wants to work with you like that.
Thank you. Mark, let me pose this question to you. How does an accident impact your business?
Well, I think the most important thing is, and you'll see kind of a definite difference between Gary's organization and ours. I have to admit that a lot of times my brother and I will be out in the shop, and my favorite words are you kidding me? You'll see something that shouldn't be going on that's going on, and honestly, what happens is it's like going past a piece of garbage right outside your front door every single day, and not realizing that you ought to pick it up and put it in the wastebasket. People get very, very, very just kind of like immune to seeing things that shouldn't be, and it's something that you have to snap out of it. In a small company like ourselves, we have a very, obviously 10 to 12, 14 union folks. They can't all be cross-trained in every single thing we do. We're very highly automated in our shop. Drill line, automated saw system. We have the first ever dyno coping robot, which runs 100% automatic with nobody standing there. That's in a direct line with our drill and saw. So we have equipment that most people in our plant don't know how to run. So when one person gets hurt, all of a sudden it impacts us in a tremendous way because he's the one that runs the coping robot or runs the drill. He may be our certified welder. He may be our truck driver. So it impacts a small company significantly more by losing one person. Of course, I think percentage-wise, 10 people and 1 people percentage-wise are the same, but it just impacts us because we can't cross-train everybody.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well, we see that we've got some safety awareness. Tell me a little bit how you're continually upgrading your safety awareness. What are you doing continually in the business? whether it's inside the business, the clerical side, or it's on the shop floor. How are you continually getting your message out to folks?
Well, we do have a monthly safety training program that happens with typically every employee in our shop, and 100% of our shop employees. And on certain subjects, we'll have even the office go involved. They usually take 30 to 45 minutes. They're documented. We have a professional come in and do the training. Everybody tells me, Mark, you ought to do this training yourself. Well, if I take it upon myself to do training, then it'll never get done, because I will always push it off until I have time. But I have a professional person comes in, we stop the entire shop, everybody meets in the training office, and that's the way we do it. It's not quite a system, that's the safety committee in our particular case. It's a little bit softer than a structured organization, but we find that, and I'd like to also bring up the random drug testing program, have been the two most important things our company has ever done for our employees or with our employees.
How about yourself, Gary?
Well, we are big enough that we have actually a safety manager. That's his full-time job, to work with us constantly on that. Our co-chair of our safety committee is our shop cert. They do a great job together. We constantly are doing what we call JSA's, job safety analogies, and that's ongoing. I mean, there's at least 2 or 3 of them going on pretty much every day. Once we get to the end of all of our production lines, we go back at the beginning and start over again to try and analyze what can we do better, safer. And it kind of goes into hand in hand with production at the same time. So you're doing a little bit of both. But they're fully written out, posted, gone over. The safety committee reviews them prior to them being posted, and they have to agree to those procedures. We really rely on the guy on the shop floor as a big part of those teams, because the fellow that's doing the operation, in our case, they're all individual cells, so he may only be tacking and fitting and tacking a particular part, but no one's going to know that job quite as well as the man that's doing it. So we're constantly tapping into that brain power along with our safety manager, and we'll bring outside companies in, whether it's the torch manufacturer, someone like Smith, or Miller comes in and runs courses for us, for example. In Philadelphia, we bring in the Philadelphia Fire Department. They run a training program for us, or whether it's first aid, we'll bring in the Red Cross training for that. Pretty much nonstop, combination of constant reviewing the operations. If there's an accident, reviewing the accident, figuring out what could we have did to prevent this, because every one of them is preventable. There's no doubt about that. It's rare that we have ever had anything that was actually machinery related. It's almost always that the process wasn't followed.
Thank you. Mark, what can the shop iron worker do to improve safety on the shop floor in your business?
Well, I think getting back to what we said before, I think the biggest problem is we get very, very just commonplace things, and I'm sure it happens on job sites also, where you walk past the exact same hazard every single day, and you don't physically look at it. It's like it's just part of what it could be, a piece of steel or blocking on the shop floor. It could be a broken chain that should have been thrown away a long time ago. It could be a cable that's getting frayed on one of our cranes. So our guys are constantly looking at those kinds of things, trying to. They do strive to be safe. They do strive to try to change things in our shop so that we don't have that one big thing that's sitting there. But it's really hard. What we need to do as an organization is become more and more aware of the little things that are in the shop. Just walking through our shop, we have, in a small company, we don't necessarily have designated aisleways that go all the way through the shop. So you kind of zigzag through the shop. It's a dirty floor scenario where, the grinding dust and things are on the floor. You just always have to be looking down and looking up at the exact same time. Our people do wear safety glasses 100% of the time in the shop. If I'm caught outside in the shop without safety glasses, I'm told pretty quickly by my people, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I immediately turn around and go get them immediately. And I respect that. I respect that. So just an awareness thing that we have to do. Getting back to this random drug testing program, we actually helped develop that with the St. Louis District Council probably about 20 years ago, and we were the first steel shop in our union to have a random drug testing program. I believe it's probably the single best thing our company's ever done. In one of the most important parts of the program is that if somebody does make a mistake, they are given an opportunity to clean up their situation and stay as an employee of Savaggio Steel. And we're proud of that. Number one, we need our employees. Number two, that's a person. That's somebody is probably going in the wrong direction. And we just find that that's one of the most important things we've ever done.
Thank you. Same question, Gary. What can the shop ironworker do to improve safety on your shop floor?
I would say really just constant, maybe helping us develop more training programs, awareness. Safety's, the more you preach it, the safer you're going to be. It's got to be just it's not even a thought. It's just got to just happen. And the more that we can just drive that in and constantly remind it, whether it's through at the local meetings, whether it's the shop steward talking to the guys, the supervisors, meetings. But really, I think if we all preach the same thing, whether it's management or union representative, it's the same thing. It's a constant reminding, constant reiterating, guys, we want you to go home safe. It's important to go fast. We're in business to make money. If we don't make money, we won't be in business, and 130 iron workers don't have a job. And another 75 people like me don't have a job now. So we want to stay in business, but we want everybody to go home the way they came in, maybe better than what they came in, hopefully. And it just takes constant reinforcement. And I think in our particular company, Local 502, our shop stewards are an intricate part of that message, constantly reminding people, hey, don't do that. Stop. Let's take care of that first. Here's how you lift it. Get another guy to help you.
Yeah, I think what both of you are telling me, if you see something, say something.
That's right.
Yes.
Safety awareness all the way through. We'll switch gears here a little bit. Let's get into business relationship. Gary, how can the ironworkers improve our relationship with your business to make it more successful?
Well, I have to say that we're pretty unique in the sense that we've got just a terrific relationship with our local union. It's a good partnership, and we work well together. So I think mostly how can we knock out the non-union competition is probably the biggest thing I could say there. We've got a great team of labor and management. Our guys come to work. They don't come to play. They work hard. And I mean, they really work hard. The question is, how do you knock out the guy in Vernon, Alabama, or how do you knock out the guy in Arkansas that's, he has a pension. He calls it a 401k. But if that employee don't put a penny in, he doesn't either. So what pension is there? So how do you knock that when you got, I don't know, it's not like the outside unions. Our benefit package runs, I think, somewhere around $12.30 to $12.60 an hour. But if the other guy's benefit package is costing them $3 or $4 an hour, that's a battle when your machines only take 35 hours to build. And when you're bidding those jobs, it makes a difference. So my question would be more, how can we organize those shops? How do we get in there and make them play on the same playing field that we have to play on? And then the other thing, I guess, that would help us is if we could use that weight there in Washington that you guys have to, because we're starting to see some competition where some of our competitors are importing units from China. And we've got to knock that out. And one of my most frustrating things, which I've talked to John earlier about, was how the heck do you put 4 bolts in a cylinder, hook up 2 hoses, you hook up 4 electric lines, L1, 2, 3, and ground, and you put Made in America on it. I'd like to know how our government allows that, and we need to stop that, and we really need the international's help in trying to prevent that from happening. Made in America does mean something, and our customers recognize that.
Thank you, Gary. Right on the nose. Same question, Mark. How can the ironworkers improve our relationship with your business to make it more successful?
If I I need everybody in the room to think about this for a second, because as you're looking at Gary and I, and you're looking at the shop side, you're saying, well, you know, I can't figure out what their problem is. But I want you to think about this for a second, and I would imagine, and I would almost guarantee, and I'm not a very good betting man. As I tell people, I don't have a gambling problem. I'm just not very lucky. But I will say this, which is not a good place to be right now. But anyway, this is actually very safe, and actually this is saving me a lot of money being here, just so you know.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you. I'd like you to tell me, or at least I'd like you to think, how many conversations have you been in the last 3 days about some non-union firm or some other firm that isn't doing the job the way that you as a union ironworker or a union shop company are doing it? I'd like to just know, and I don't need a show of hands, but I bet you that conversation is happening in every single corner of this entire convention center today with almost every single person. I can't believe how that guy did that job so cheap. They didn't follow safety rules. They don't know what they're doing. They didn't finish the job. And, or worse than that, they had an accident that cost them a life or a limb. The problem is that at the exact same time you're talking about that, or your client probably walks up to you, and this happens all the time, I wish I wouldn't have taken that bid. Well, the problem with that in our industry, it's already too late for us. And I think you're in the same boat. If you don't get a job because of somebody that's non-union, it's usually too late for you. You've got to go find some more hours somewhere else to book. And so I want you to think about that a little bit. You folks and we have the exact same problem. We're competing against people that don't have the same cost structure. I'm not complaining, but the fact of it is that there's pressures on our companies being union and not having enough union companies in our area. Savaggio Steel is one of 3 non-union or union shops south of Chicago. 3 union shops. And unfortunately, with freight nowadays, there's steel coming in from Arkansas, Mississippi. We competed against, last year, we actually had somebody bid a job in Springfield, Illinois from Phoenix, Arizona. And everybody asks me the same question. They say, well, Mark, have you started expanding your territory to go get more work? And I say, heck no. I'm not going there. Why do you think they're coming here? There's no work there. And the one thing you don't want to do in our industry is find out that you're working with the biggest idiot and the biggest slug for a contractor. The reason that he couldn't get a bid from his local people, he's already hurt those local people. So what I'm saying is that from a standpoint of impacting the ironworkers, we need growth. We need union growth. And I've been advocating that for years and years and years and years. And we talked about this earlier. We need it now. We're all getting older, except for John. He's pretty young. But we're all getting older. And the fact of it is that we don't have, if this doesn't happen soon, we're going to be consumed by folks that aren't training their people, by folks that don't have a structured contract, by folks that just don't do it as well as we do. And so we are asking the union leadership to step up on the shop side and help us develop more union participation, which would be great for all of us. My theory is if you do go and try to shove a non-union firm or a firm that doesn't do it as well as hopefully we do up a notch, whether they're union or not, or whether you ever get them or not, it raises the entire game plan for everybody. And I think you're in the same boat.
Thank you. Very good. So what you're both telling me is you're supporting shop organizing.
Oh, I love shop organizing.
Thank you, gentlemen. If you could change one aspect about the ironworkers, what would that one thing be? in your business relationship?
Well, I'll be honest with you, it goes back to this organization. I've been advocating this for years and years and years. About 15 years ago, we had a non-union shop that was doing a lot of work, and I actually proposed with my BA, no longer with the union, I would pay for a billboard. Literally, I would pay for a billboard that would go above this person's shop. I was going to give the union the money. It was going to cost back then about $700 or $800. I even set up and developed what the billboard should say. The only thing he had to do is he had to get a phone number, an 800 number, so that when they called the 800 number, it would go back to the St. Louis office. And I couldn't get it to, it's like you just don't have enough time. The shop locals don't have enough resources, and honestly, we need them to have more resources. We need more recruiting. And please don't take it upon it. If we do something wrong, we need to get our hands slapped as an employer. But what we really need is for you to help us with the guys who aren't doing anything that we're doing. So as far as our needs, we need more union. And that doesn't sound like something you'd expect from a man, or a company owner. But my brother Tony and I, since we took over in 1985, have been pro-union and proud of what we've done. I'm not saying we don't have problems sometimes. We have a great relationship with our local BA, Shane Austin. But there are some problems here and there. We get in a little trouble here and there. But the fact of it is, we really enjoy our relationship with the union. We need more of it. And not necessarily at my shop. I need this raised everywhere. Thank you.
Same question, Gary.
Well, again, we've got a great working relationship. As I said, we'd certainly have to organize more. But the other thing that would help, lease-wise PTR, and pretty much every company I know, every organization meeting I go to, whether it's Manufacturers Alliance of Philadelphia, Pride, which is a industrial groups, every employer I know says the same thing. We can't hire qualified welder fabricators, machinists, electricians. So all we hear about is unemployment, unemployment, unemployment. Yet I've got owner after owner at these meetings saying the same thing. Where are we supposed to get the people to do the work? Where are we going to get these young people into our programs? I think earlier I heard the average iron worker, was it between over 50 years old? Well, how do we get the young people interested in working with their hands? I wonder how many people today say, gee, I want my son to grow up to be a welder. I know my dad did. And his dad did before. So how do we get young people to start thinking, and how do we get parents to think like that now? And it starts at the education. I'd really like to see the iron workers start to work with those high schools, the vocational technical schools, start to promote that. I know a number of your representatives have been there. Kevin Burns, for example, went to one of the schools with me and did a wonderful job there. And, if we can get the youths back involved, wanting to be proud to work with their hands and to become iron workers, that'll help us all. It'll also help on the benefit packages, meaning when you have an older group, those medical coverage costs a lot more money. So that'd be a great way to balance out the book.
Thank you, Gary. Mark, in your experience, what is the greatest aspect that the shop iron workers have provided to your business to make it successful?
Well, I think this is really, and I give this some thought. We have a consistent workforce. Our foreman's been with our company for 33 years. He was there, and one other, Rick and Ross were there when my dad was still alive. They're the only two employees other than my brother and I that were there when my father was there. Jarvis has been there 3 months shorter than Ross. They're all approaching 30 years with our company. They're consistent. They walk in the door, they know what to do. We have a contract that says, Savaggio Steel will do this, and you, Mr. Employee, will do this. There's no really deviation between those. And the funny thing is we talked about this a little bit earlier, I almost use Charlie back there, I use my BAs as almost my free labor attorney. Because if I'm about ready to implement something inside our plant, I call him first, because he will tell me whether he's going to break that off where it hurts or that I can do what I want to do. So I use the union as really a resource rather than a hindrance. And if I want to do something and they say, Mark, that won't work, but I think we can do this, this, and this, that's the way we want to work together with our union employees. So basically, our union employees, most of our folks have been with us for 20, 30 years. That's a big deal to us. And we've grown up with them. I think the biggest single problem we're running into right now, just Gary mentioned it earlier, and this is 100% true, you've got to be having the exact same problem. We are not recruiting younger adults to come into our businesses, either at the blue-collar level or at the technical level. We are dying. Savaggio Steel is one of the most automated shops in central Illinois, in the state of Illinois, and I can't get people that know AutoCAD. I can't get people that know anything about a computer. I can't get people that know anything about a tape measure or fractions. And we need to be able to develop that. We also are working with local colleges to develop that. I've got one young man that's actually gone, he's in my shop. He's a welder. He's been trained in welding at Midwest Technical Institute, which is a great little welding technical school in the center part of the country. I asked him, with the GI Bill, I asked him to go back to school to learn AutoCAD at ITT Technical School, because he may be my first employee ever that moves from the shop through the office into detailing project management. We are dying for young adults to come into our business. And I'm afraid that our long-term future of Savaggio Steel is going to rest on my employees that I'm able to bring in the next 3 to 5 years.
Thanks, Mark. We're going to skip ahead. We're getting a wrap up here, but we're going to go one more question, and I'll pose it to Gary. What value does the shop ironworker workforce provide to your business in order to make you successful?
Similar, Mark, stable workforce, consistently comes to work on time.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Proud to be a part of an organization which leads to better quality. A pool of qualified people that really know their job all the way from the very smallest part of it to the most difficult part, and finish it on time. We would not be successful if it wasn't for the men on the shop floor. We lead our industry. We don't follow it. Everyone else is trying to figure out how the heck can a union shop in the Northeast be number one in their industry and be able to beat all of the non-union companies that are out there. And it's because of the workers. It's because of the men that you provide.
Yeah, go ahead.
About a year ago, Savaggio Steel decided to upgrade its logo. And again, a small family firm. We sat in the conference room. We brought in our estimator, brought in our foreman. And I'm kind of proud of this because it was one of those things that you can imagine you doing this too. We come up with a really neat logo. It's got the little S, kind of got a little flashy thing behind it. It kind of looks like we're taking off, you know. And it's got the Savaggio Advantage. It's a really neat logo, and we had it on our shirts. We had a dedication of a building in Springfield, Illinois, for the Springfield Clinic a year ago, and we're very proud of this. And I want to bring this up because this was actually in the December edition of Modern Steel Construction. If you have it, you'll not only see a picture of my brother and I in there, but also you'll see a picture of a building that we painted 100%. And this was an 800-ton structural project. We painted the entire project pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The hospital had a dedication where over 700 people came and signed Savaggio steel beams and a ribbon. We believe in our community, and we believe in those kinds of opportunities. But I want to talk about this Savaggio Advantage for a second, because we got this really neat logo, and I went home and I'm looking at this neat logo, and all of a sudden I started thinking to myself, I wonder what the Savaggio Advantage really is. Because we had the logo, but I really didn't know why. It was kind of, if you think about this small company, we don't really do this long-term strategic planning. We kind of say, oh, this is kind of neat, let's go do this. So I'm sitting in there, and all of a sudden it dawned on me, the Savaggio Advantage is its people, its technology, and its automation. But the people part was the first part of it. And I didn't realize it, so I came back to work the next day, and we sat in the same meeting room, and I said, the Savaggio Advantage, and why we're as good as we are, it's our people. And it's the investments we put into them and the equipment and the automation of our company. And I think that's a positive thing to say about the ironworkers and in our company relationship, because it's our people that make Savaggio Steel the company that everybody really wants to go to. Whether they can afford us or not becomes an issue, but they want us. And it's really our people. And that really was probably 99%, because we've got a stable workforce that with the union support. So we want to thank you for the opportunity.
Gary and Mark, I want to thank both of you extremely from the bottom of my heart here, because the shop department has so much work ahead of us. But with the support of employers like yourself and Gary, we're going to get it done. And I look forward to working with you into the future and getting a lot more things done around the country and into Canada. And with that, big round of applause for these guys. Thank them very much.